Alrighty guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day. So it's been a while since I've checked out, like an educational video. But today this one popped up on my feed and it's called Why Israel Loves the Philippines. If you've been following my channel for a while now, you guys probably know that I check out a lot of Filipino artists. So I thought this would be a great video to check out. It's centered around the Philippines. This video was made by the channel called Behind Asia. And I kind of took a glance at their channel as well. And I saw a lot of other videos that I would like to check out as well. So make sure to let me know down in the comments if you guys want me to check out more of these videos. Also, if you guys are interested in getting early access plus my full uncut reaction videos to movies, TV shows, and music, you guys can check out my Patreon down in the description, as well as my other YouTube channels. And with that, guys, let's hop into this.
Israel and the Philippines have a very special relationship, and people don't really talk about it much.
Okay.
You see, the Philippines, despite being a world apart, separated by geography and culture, has a historical and wonderful relationship. Their relationship is deep and meaningful, and comes out to be amongst the most unexpected there is.
Well, that's
and the type
good.
of international friendship that we talk about isn't merely about trade, security, or investments. They are built on something far more different. It's rooted in a shared history of struggle and survival. Moments
Okay.
when one reached out to the other in times of desperate need. To start off, this relationship...
Okay, this actually might be a really good relationship then, like it's saying, because if it's not based off that other stuff, and it's just based off, just them needing each other whenever they're, like, really struggling and stuff, that actually would build a really healthy relationship.
Back to the 1930s. This was a dark time in world history, especially in Europe. Anti-Semitism was at its peak, and Jews were being persecuted. Countries around the world were shutting their doors on these desperate people. But it should also be known that Jews themselves were being expelled from all across the world. At the start of the 20th century, some Jews were deported by Ottoman authorities during the First World War. In 1933, the Nazi Germany persecution started with Nazi boycotts of Jewish businessmen. And then, as history knows, what happens next. By 1940,
Yeah.
the so-called
That's-
June deportation
That's just crazy though. Whenever I've learned about, the Holocaust and stuff back in school, it just blows my mind that that actually happened, man. Like, that was real, man. Like, people literally, so many Jews died during the Holocaust just because of their religion and stuff. It's just crazy to think that people would actually kill people over that,
carried out by the Soviet Union in June and July 1940 as the fourth and fifth waves of mass deportations of Polish citizens from Soviet-occupied Eastern Poland also targeted some 65,000 Polish Jews who fled from the German-occupied part of Poland. Left and right, they were being kicked out. But the cusp of today's story does not belong to these expulsions, but rather what happened halfway across the globe. In the Philippine Islands, something different was happening. President Manuel L. Quezon, who was in power at the time, made an extraordinary decision that was far ahead of its time. Despite facing opposition, he implemented a policy that would allow Jewish refugees to find sanctuary in the Philippines.
I
He
was
didn't
I was
just
gonna say that. I bet that's what happened. I bet he actually allowed the Jews to come there.
Provide them refuge, he offered them a new lease on life. These were people escaping from the darkest times, and here was a country, itself under American colonial rule, reaching out a helping hand. And this was by no means an easy decision. The opposition he faced was harsh.
Oh, yeah.
His enemies criticized him for letting communist Jews in, and even his political allies scolded him for it. Yet
But
for some reason,
that's crazy though, that he actually, like, going against, like, allowing Jews just because during that time, how everything was going, and he knew it was gonna, cause a lot of problems, but he still went with that. That makes me really like him. Like, I don't know him as like a person or anything else he did, but this decision right here makes me really like him.
Manuel Quezon had sympathized with the Jews. Being a Catholic, which was also the biggest religion in the Philippines, had pushed him a year later to fight for the entry of 10,000 Jews from Germany and Austria in the Philippines. His rivals used this idea to their advantage by calling Jews communists and claiming they wanted to control the world. They also said it would be difficult for the Philippines to manage the logistics. Further, some opponents had also distorted the issue, accusing President Quezon of not providing land to farmers while offering land to Jewish refugees in the Philippines. But surprisingly, against all odds, President Quezon went ahead and provided visas to 10,000 German and Austrian Jews. Out of that number, however, only 1,200 made it to the Philippines. Some
Really?
analysts pointed out the fact that the Philippines was later invaded by the Japanese. And truth be told, there wasn't really any economic gains or political favors in the fray. He did it because he believed it was the right thing to do. Even though the Philippines
I like
was
that.
not yet a fully independent nation, Quezon used
Oh,
what
wasn't?
power he had to make a moral stand. This decision didn't just save lives, it laid the first stone in the foundation of a friendship that has lasted to this day. This early act of humanitarian aid was a defining moment in the relationship between the Philippines and Israel, or more accurately, between Filipinos and Jews. It showed that even when faced with great risks, the Philippines was willing to do what was right. This set the tone for a friendship that would
Yeah, this just makes me love the Philippines even more, man. Just because, again, nothing was based off money or trade or any type of thing that would like help them in any way. They were just doing it to be nice, you know. They knew that this wasn't right how the Jews were being treated, and so they offered, you know, them to come to the Philippines so they can have a better life, you know. So that just I love the Philippines, man. One day I want to go visit the Philippines.
later extend into more significant actions that would further solidify the bond between the two nations. But you might get carried out by the fact that this was the only defining moment of the relationship. No, history carried on as the Philippines became a big friend of Israel. In 1947, after the Second World War, a big vote came out from the United Nations. The world at that time was looking at the question of Palestine, a territory that had been under British control. The proposed plan was to partition Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states. This proposal, known as the United Nations Partition Plan for Palestine or Resolution 181, was a, let's say, contentious issue. The stage was set and the stakes were high. If the resolution passed, it would lead to the establishment of the State of Israel. However, getting enough countries to say yes was a monumental task. But that day would come. Out of the 58 UN members at that time, 33 voted in favor, 13 were against, and 10 abstained. But what came out to be the most surprising is that the Philippines voted in favor of establishing the State of Israel. The Philippines was also the only Asian country to ever vote in favor. Okay,
Wow.
so you might then ask, why is this such a big deal? Well, because that vote was a close call. If the Philippines had voted differently, the majority needed for the resolution to pass would not have been reached. Or to put it simply, the Philippines' vote was the tipping point. Israel might
That's
not have
crazy.
been established if not for that crucial yes from the Philippines. So, in a very real sense, the future of an entire nation rested on the shoulders of this single vote. President Quezon's earlier actions, and then later by the Philippines, proved yet again a monumental feat to their friendship. But like Quezon's actions, these were also not a political strategy. The decision was grounded in the country's own recent history of fighting for independence and self-determination. It was an alignment of values, a gesture of goodwill, a continuation of the humanitarian spirit. Carlos P. Romulo, who was the Philippines representative in the United Nations, spoke eloquently about the moral duty to support the Jewish people's aspiration for a homeland, echoing the sentiments of President Quezon's earlier actions. The impact of this vote reached far beyond diplomatic halls. It established the Philippines as a supporter of Israel's right to exist and self-govern, further strengthening the friendship between the two nations. It was an act that showcased the Philippines' willingness to support what it viewed as just and right, even when it stood alone among its Asian neighbors. In later years, the Philippines received military training and equipment from Israel. Israel has a highly advanced military and intelligence apparatus, and sharing this expertise was another layer in their expanding friendship. This was more than a simple transaction. It was a sign of deep trust and mutual respect. Today, it is well known that the Philippines employs a wide variety of Israeli-made equipment, from the Acero-class patrol gunboats to the Sabra light tank, Elbit Hermes 450, an unmanned
But you
aerial
see, so all this stuff though came afterwards, after they became, good friends and everything. So it makes sense now why they would help each other and give them items and stuff. It's crazy to see how much the Philippines have done for Israel though throughout the years now.
vehicle, and even a wide array of communication equipment. And aside from military ties, Israel and the Philippines are today exchanging trade, investment, and tourism to this very day. Although it is quite small, as in 2019, it was just about $254 million worth of trade. Tourism, on the other hand, saw around 30,000 Filipino tourists visiting Israel each year prior to the pandemic. And finally, there is also a small Filipino diaspora in Israel. Approximately 30,000 Filipinos reside in Israel, mostly as caregivers. The treatment of these migrant workers is generally better in Israel compared to other countries, thanks to labor agreements and cultural understanding. But anyway, do let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.
I think this is a very great relationship that Israel and the Philippines have with each other. You don't see this. I feel like this ain't normal, because I never knew about this at all. And I know a lot of times, with relationships with just countries and stuff, I feel like a lot of countries these days are more selfish and they only think in ways like what that country can give to me and stuff. And if they can't give me anything beneficial, then I don't want anything to do with them, basically, I feel like that's how a lot of countries do these days. But this relationship right here is different because they form their relationships based off something that the Philippines just back then just felt like, was the right thing to do, is to help the Jews and to give them a place to go to that they can be treated fairly. It had nothing to do with money or trade or anything beneficial or anything. It just was just based off, just being humane. So the Philippines doing that just shows how kind-hearted they are and how they're just so welcoming, I already knew that just whenever I started just checking out, just Filipino artists, just something basic as that. Just the love and support that I get from people from the Philippines is just incredible. I can already tell that these people are just different. They are some of the most loving people in the world. When I get to really thinking about it, this just doesn't even shock me at all, man. Of course the Philippines would be the ones that would be helping out the Jews back then and, still having a great relationship with Israel. And, with everything that's happening right now in Israel, I bet the Philippines are doing, as much as they can to help them out in these tough times as well. And to go back to with their vote to actually allow Israel to, have their own government and everything and, set themselves apart, that's crazy that their vote was the one that really decided everything. But yeah, this was a great and informative video. I love checking out this video right here. I gotta do more of these, man. I love just learning about the world just because I'm from the United States. I don't know a whole lot of history, about the world and stuff. So I want to learn more. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll definitely try to be doing more of these videos on this channel. And you guys can let me know down in the comments of other videos that I can check out. Also, if you guys know more about, this relationship right here, since I know some of you guys are from the Philippines, make sure to let me know that down in the comments below too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I'll see you guys in the next one.